Hi, it's March and the pond is starting to come back to life after winter, and for some months now I've been expecting to have to empty the pond out to repair a leak, potentially needing fiberglass, which needs to wait till May time at least for the temperatures to be warm enough. So I've been keeping the bacteria in the filter alive over winter, so that when I move the fish to a temporary pool, they've got the best chance they can have with the filter being able to deal with their waste. So this experiment is all about whether we can keep the filter bacteria alive over winter, and now let's cut to it.
Hi, we're in my garage, and what I've been doing here is keeping my biological filter alive and fully topped up with bacteria over the winter months. It's now March and I set this up in November. What we've got is a 220 litre barrel that has got around 100 litres of K3 and 150 litres of water. I've got an air stone there with a 20 watt blower, and I've also got a water pump directing the water vertically upwards to keep the circulation nice and high, because I found that with such a lot of media in only 150 litres of water, getting the circulation was difficult. And I also had my bigger air pump on the main filter outside that still had some media in, because I wanted to make sure that there was some media kept in the pond as well. So one of the things I found is that adding this household ammonia, adding probably about 5 millilitres of that at least a week, maybe a little bit more, is that it used up the carbonate very quickly in the water. So I had to add extra carbonate. You don't actually have to add that much, just a few teaspoons was enough here to keep those levels topped up so the bacteria continue to function, because otherwise it all gets used up and the bacteria just stop working. So that worked very well, and now we're going to test to see how well that the bacteria have been sustained in this arrangement compared to the media that was left in the pond. So we're now going to go over to my shed and run the experiment to see how they compare. So this is the setup for my pond, which has been running through winter. I'll grab some of this and use this in the experiment. So the experiment is I'm going to have these two setups. One, the media from the tank, another a similar amount of media from the pond, and I'm going to see which one removes all the ammonia and converts it to nitrate quickest. So I'm using household ammonia here. I'm going to add 2 milligrams per litre on this amount. I'm going to run it at 20 degrees. I'm going to test for ammonia and nitrite. With these, to get more out of the bottle, I use a 2 milliliter test amount rather than 5 milliliter, which means I only need to use 40% of the number of drops. That works really well, so there's a little tip there in terms of getting more out of your test kits. Yeah, let's run this and see how long it takes and which one does it quickest. Results, and the ammonia was very similar for the pond and the test, not really showing much difference. If anything, the pond was actually a bit quicker removing the ammonia. That took 6 days. And then on the nitrite, they both were pretty similar. The pond picked up the nitrite levels a bit earlier, and I wasn't sure if that was the more ammonia being converted to nitrite early on, or whether that was the fewer bacteria converting nitrite into nitrate. But that took a little bit less time to get going, but then lingered around for longer. So the pond took 28 days to remove all the ammonia, and the test took 19, showing that the effort of keeping the bacteria at a higher temperature and feeding them ammonia over winter did lead to an improvement. So the overall conclusion is that you can boost the bacterial performance by keeping your filter in a warmer environment and feeding with ammonia over winter. You can do that using a relatively concentrated amount of water and adding relatively concentrated amounts of ammonia, but you must add the carbonate buffer in order to keep that topped up. Otherwise the bacteria simply stop working when the carbonate hardness reduces to 0, and that won't tide you over anywhere near the length of time that you need to get through winter. So carbonate buffer is required. But you can probably get better results than I had if you added more ammonia and doing it more frequently. The only reason I actually did this experiment over the winter was because I had a leak, but as it turns out the leak was caused by where my filter return joins back in, is connected to the liner, and so because that's relatively near the surface, I was able to fix it once I'd identified it without emptying the whole pond, and just reduce the water level down for a day while the repair took cured. So it wasn't necessary, and I probably wouldn't do this again. I don't think the benefits are sufficiently great that it warrants the effort. But still, I thought I'd share the benefits with you, and so you could use it if you're needing to keep your bacteria alive over winter for whatever reason. So I hope that's been useful. I'll catch you on the next video.